Hello and welcome back to the Arsenal Bite Size Podcast. I'm your host Clayton, and I feel like I keep saying welcome back because we tend to disappear for a few days at a time because of my crazy schedule at the minute. But it's good to be back with you, Uncle Mike. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. It is good to be back. It's a week. Well, I think we've had 10 days.
10 days it was, yeah.
I think it's 10 days. So 10 days in Arsenal Football Club is an extremely long time. So
Oh, it is
yeah, we
indeed.
got
And
we got we got a bit to get through. So yeah, it's all. I mean
well,
that with that Bilbao game seems like so long ago now.
I know, and like the Port Vale one in the middle of all of that as well. I'm like, oh, how much do we? How much is there to cover about it? Really, I
Yeah,
guess
I mean,
the
yeah,
last one we did was, to be fair, we were previewing Bilbao. So since then, we've obviously beat Bilbao away, drew against City. Port Vale was the one midweek. I mean, I feel like the City. Is there anything you wanted to say, like from a high level helicopter view on this 3 game period, or is it more you want to zoom in on City?
I think we got the prediction right on the Bilbao uh,
You
game.
did.
I'm
I
sure.
think
Yeah, I
you
did.
did. I
So
don't think I did.
I want 10% of anyone's accas if they counted on me. So I'm claiming my 10%, please. Um, I think we haven't done too bad on the predictions. Just on this little side note on that, I think we've been doing all right, apart from the Liverpool
I
game.
need to bring back the
But
tracking spreadsheet again.
yeah, yeah. So the Bilbao game, we can touch on that very briefly because obviously it's so far away. We had a lot going on since then. So the Bilbao game, I just think was a really good European performance, and not much more. The day after you could be discussing lineups. And I think that's the general theme for me in the last 3 games is the controversy, maybe a bit of a harsh word, controversy, but certainly the talking point is the lineup. And it's that
Yeah.
Arteta balance between creativity and the Marino effect. And I think that's the talking point of what is your reaction or the general Arsenal fans' reaction when they see Marino in the lineup. And that
Yeah, I
I
think
think it,
I'll be,
and that's influencing us as a fan base in the last 3 games because we, there's the perception that he's a negative effect, um, but I don't think he's being used as that. But just seeing his name on the lineup, automatically, I think a lot of people's head goes straight away to negative connotations.
yeah, maybe I'll surprise you here. I was disappointed with Marino against City. I don't rate this City team. I really think they're there to be run through and got at. And I'll be honest, I didn't hate the Trossard selection as much as everyone else did, but I think it's more because in the absence of Odegaard, I would have wanted Eze to play instead of Marino. And I get the whole like off the ball, is Eze going to be able to press? But I think that is just overcomplicating things in certain games. Like I think there are games where you'll go with a Marino and probably like a Champions League away day or something, but City at home and this City at home, they're nothing special. So I'll be honest, I was very disappointed by that. It did feel I'm not one that kind of typically buys into he being Arteta is too cautious and this and that. But I do think on that game, if I'm being honest, I was quite disappointed. And I don't know, it's in the grand scheme of things, like, and we'll touch on the Newcastle game, it's now 3 points dropped at Anfield, 2 points dropped, in my opinion, at home to City. I know within the context of the game, you could say, oh, it's 2 points saved, but I would have been wanting and expecting 3 points there. Newcastle, St. James's Park is not an easy place for us. And suddenly you're looking at like, is a draw good enough this weekend? I'm not sure. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed. What about you?
Yeah, it was. I went to the game, so I've got a slightly different. It's a hazy day for me that
Yeah,
day. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's a hazy day meant I had a good day, despite
yeah,
whatever the result was. Because you know what, you're like me. A day at the Arsenal is the best day you could ever have. So
yeah.
with your pals, you go through your routine, and it is what it is. So I had a fantastic day, but I'm in the Italian deli on the Holloway Road with my pals, and they're also I'm doing an advert for them, so they're getting we'll get some money out of them. So
You're
they
doing what?
an advert for them. So no, I'm just joking. So
Ah,
so the lineup drops, and we straight away it's the Marino and Trossard discussion. That's where your eyes are immediately drawn to, and straight away you see lack of creativity. And as you say, I think they were there for the taking, and that lineup at home against City wasn't a lineup that said to me that you were going for it. And then
yeah,
you're then going more into you're leaving yourself wide open for the criticisms out there that you're not an attacking team, and Arteta is cautious by lineups like that. But you can talk, you can talk through any lineup and justify it to yourself. Did Trossard get a start because of his impact in the previous game? Is he doing those kinds of things where to keep the squad that we've got, you've got to put minutes in legs, and it was almost a reward for right. You came on, you've done a good job against Bilbao. Again, in hindsight, it was probably more of a Martinelli game or an Eza game. I've never seen. I mean, we can talk about Pep's tactics, whether that was his desired tactics, whether that was his tactics he set out with. I've seen analysis where it wasn't actually what he set out to do. It was just that they initially tried the high press. We played around the high press. They then dropped into that. Obviously, the goal that they got, our game plan, we'll never know our game plan because 10 minutes in, it's blown out the water.
yeah, good goal that though.
Yeah, and and if you took a screenshot of that and pinned that up on the training board or put it on a little hammering whiteboard on the touchline, you're looking at that and say no one's done anything wrong. I mean, Calafiori was a little bit loose. It was a bit of a loose
think
pass.
Saliba's positioning was if I'm being hypercritical, I do think he could have positioned himself a little bit better.
Yes, and so you've got all of that, and then they drop back into got the goal. Our game plan's out. We've never seen Pep play like that before.
Yeah.
And that's a further discussion that we could have. But that is so it was all very compressed. And at half time, there wasn't many. We didn't actually have. We had a Noni header, I believe. Noni was looking a little bit threatening. But half time, the reaction to the Eza and Saka sub, I've never heard it. It was just cheers on the concourse. You're having you're on your second beer on the concourse now. Yeah. You should be having a second beer, and you're like,
no, not at half time. That's a good.
You know what I mean. We're going for the second beers at half time, so we're like, oh no, I better get back to the seat. And then suddenly it's the Saka and Eza subs, and you're like, the cheers just went round. Yeah. And then there was a general buzz around in the bogs as you're going back to your seat. And I think that's what we needed. And that momentum carried us into the second half. And then there was only one team in the second half. And then we went pure Arsene Wenger, defenders off, attackers on.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2012. It was nice to see. And then as we were bringing on attackers, they were bringing off attackers and bringing on defenders. But yet again, Gary Neville then comes on and says it's a masterclass from Pep, and doesn't mention anything about why you shouldn't be going for it and all that absolute nonsense. And that is then a bigger question of that is this now the blueprint? We know that's the blueprint from the low block teams.
Well, I feel like it's this weekend's opponents that kind of started it, right? Them and Everton. Yeah. Few years ago.
And then is now when you've got, because Liverpool changed their game against us, and so have City. Is that a sign of respect, or is it a sign of they know that we can't do anything by giving us that amount of much ball with that amount of possession? It becomes fairly predictable if you're starting with a Marino up top and you haven't, or on the pitch and you haven't got that creativity. And I think that's something that may be too early to ask because of the combinations of the new signings haven't quite gelled. So, but it's certainly something that's quite interesting that City and Liverpool aren't prepared to go toe to toe with us, because why would they? They
Yeah,
they
but
do change. They have changed their game.
this is my I don't know if it's fair to say it's a frustration because he did react to it, but if you're anticipating these mid-low block games, and to be fair, mate, like you said, maybe he wasn't actually anticipating that against City, and he did react by bringing an Eze and a Saka on. I know Saka was because of Madueke's injury, but like that's my frustration. If he goes into Newcastle this weekend, where we know what we're going to get, and he doesn't start an Eze, that's where I'm a bit like, okay, come on. I reached the conclusion last year that, in my opinion, we've hit a bit of a ceiling in what we do with what we've got against these mid and low blocks. And the only thing, in my opinion, that is the way around it now is individual brilliance. We've got that in an Eze. And like, you have to play him in a game like this. So it'll be interesting to see, because we are going to get more games like that. And I do think it's gutting that Madueke's injured, because I think he is a perfect option in these games, and I would have loved to see him off the left in these games as well. Have Eze more central, which I'm happy that Arteta did that on Sunday. And then again, I know it was Port Vale, but the fact that he did start Eze kind of in that left 8 role was encouraging.
Yeah.
But that, in my opinion, is the solution to it. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I guess your takeaway from the City game, you were there, so obviously I imagine in the context of getting swept up, it's like, yeah, we got the equaliser. How are you feeling after it?
Yeah, there was wild celebrations. There were limbs, mate, and there were scenes, and there were drinks were had after.
I had FOMO again.
Yeah, it's one of those. But then, I mean, at the time, you're 8 or 9 beers in. You're not thinking of the permutation of being 5 points behind Liverpool. You've just got out. You've got away with getting something out of the game that you thought that you deserved. So, and then it kind of sinks in. I didn't really. I got home, watched Match of the Day, fell asleep during Match of the Day. So that was my that was my analysis. And then obviously I've caught up with everything since then. So I did feel it's an opportunity lost.
Yeah.
And I just want to see us a little bit more gung ho. I think the balance that we've got between control and dominance is strangling our creativity at the moment, and I just want more games, more minutes in legs, more opportunities for combos to be formed, and working out a little bit of chemistry and relationships. So go on, sorry, mate.
No, I think it's the domino effect for me. So like, I had no real Liverpool. I thought we were fantastic in the first half, just didn't really capitalize on it. And then I was quite disappointed about the second half. But it was one of them where I could kind of stomach what was happening in the second half in the context of it so early on in the season. And if we are going to nick a point, let's say, away at Anfield in the first few games of the season, that's fine. But then to follow it up with the kind of lack of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, intent against Man City at home, where we slapped them 5-1 last season at home. And I know it was in a different period of the season. I don't rate this City team. I don't think they'll be anywhere near a title race. So that's where I'm disappointed. And again, I know I'm repeating myself. It then adds pressure going into an environment where, if you ask me any time of the season, would I take a point at St. James's Park? I'd probably say yeah. But now I don't think we can afford to be doing that. I think we have to be going there and trying to get the 3 points, which I know we always try to do, but I think there's a scale of intent that we try and get a 3 points in. And I think the scale of intent is going to be lower down. We'll probably see, well, we'll get into the team news and stuff. Maybe the lineup will pick itself with people coming back.
Yeah, I just think that I totally agree with what you're saying with the Liverpool. I've convinced myself that wasn't a bad performance in the context of things. Still potentially 2 points lost. Dropped, but at the start of the season, I would have taken a draw at Anfield. Just shake hands and say, "Well, off we go."
Yeah.
But it was then followed up so soon by quite an efficient, and we understand why, because we mentioned it in the preview for the Athletic game, was we didn't want it to be Alon's opener from a couple of years ago, or at Atalanta. last year, which was 0-0. So you're sort of fine, and it was a very good, efficient performance, but it wasn't exciting. It was quite a
No.
hard watch, and I think that's what myself, and it sounds like you, and certainly a lot of people in my circles are getting frustrated with, is this seems to be a theme, and the fact that the City game was followed up so soon from the Liverpool game, and at home against the City side. Yes, they got Haaland, but they are gettable, and that has been shown already. We then followed it up with a less than exhilarating performance was, I think, the frustration for me. Now, do we think it's going to change? Yes, I bloody hope so, but only time will tell, and that's what I mean about these games. And then you're following it up, as you say, with an extremely tough, or probably our second toughest fixture. I think Newcastle away is harder for us than City away.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
And and they are just ready to eat us up. So we're going to have an absolute war up there.
Yeah.
So
on the whether we see it changing, like I am very much looking forward to that period after the international break, because I know the fixtures in the league ease up a bit, and I was encouraged. I do think there's been a slight change in the Leeds and the Forest games, so I do think this season I think we'll beat most of the teams outside the top 8 relatively comfortably at home, whereas last year it was a little bit of a slog at times. I just think the only difference is he now thinking that in these big games, just point minimum, try and nick it somehow? I'd still like to go and try and stranglehold these teams, like, because I do think we're bigger and better than most of them in the league. So try and go for it. And I get it at Anfield, I get it at St. James's Park, but because of the intent against Man City at home, you're now putting yourself in a position where you have to kind of go for it so early on. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that is kind of what we need. But I've got no doubt about, famous last words, I've got no doubt about that kind of run from game week 7 onwards. I really back us to put some consistency on the board. I think Liverpool have a tough run in that period. So hopefully swings and roundabouts. But is there anything that you want to touch on before we move to Newcastle?
But not really. I think we covered that. It was, you can go through the old Trossard. Sometimes a little bit shit, sometimes a little bit good. When he starts, he's sometimes a little bit shit. When he comes off the bench, he's very, very good. So
yeah,
that I think is something to have. And it kind of screamed out to me that just the last thing on the City game was that Martinelli finding his role. It was so good. I was so pleased for him, because it was a huge goal against. We didn't really mention it, and we should, because he deserves the credit for that. He had a very good impact in the Bilbao game. What a goal that was, and that is the archetypal Martinelli goal. And then to follow it up with the performance, or with the goal. I mean,
that goal was great. The run,
we was behind that goal, and
how much were you anticipating it going in, just waiting for it?
No, well, it just like slow motion. It's classic slow motion, isn't it? So it just so it goes over the top, and you're like, oh my god, it's going in, because that geezer's big, mate. Donnarumma is a big fella, so totally negated our set pieces. That was a fantastic goal. So that was our discussions after the game, was whether is that his role last 20 minutes, but predominantly you're starting with Eza, or you bring in, even if you have it Martinelli on the left, and you bring in Eza on as your left 8 in some form. So that was what I just wanted to say. Martinelli, fair play, man.
Yeah, and obviously he got his start against Port Vale, so we'll see. Olympiacos, maybe that's one that he kind of gets a nod there, but you are right. I think it suits him well coming on, like the kind of, I know it's a bit of a narrative, but tired legs, more space to potentially open yourself up into later in a game. I think that suits him so much more. That he is not a player that mentally or physically wears down his opponent. I think he's someone that takes advantage of someone that's already worn down. Whereas an Eze, a Saka, a Madueke, they're tiring to play against. I think defenders enjoy playing against Martinelli. I think it's relatively straightforward.
Because you know what he's going to do more often than not. But it's good to see he's responded in exactly how we wanted him to respond. He hasn't sulked. He's got his head down, which was part of his bloody problem in the first place. Is his head's down too much and he doesn't look up on the pitch. But he's got his head down on the training pitch. He's come back. He's made an impact. So he's now. Whereas 2 weeks ago, he was almost stupidly written off by large sections of the fan base as though he wasn't going to have any impact on last season. And that is ridiculous. This guy can still play football. He's still going to get lots of minutes. And it's just like, and it was so nice to see Arteta give him a big up after the game. So,
yeah. A couple bits that we should probably touch on that we haven't is, not a couple bits, but Saliba signed. So that was big news. I know it's not official on Arsenal.com yet, but I think everywhere's reporting it. Arteta kind of touched on it. So, see you, Canate. Off to Madrid you go, son.
He's just. I did hear someone else say it. He's just signed up to Duolingo for the old Spanish.
Yeah.
Course. So he's on double hours on that. So that was such a nice. We kind of knew the vibe. There was still people trying to chuck things in to say it wasn't happening, but that is a huge statement. And of course, you then have the opposition fans saying, "Oh, it's a waste of his career. What's he doing that for?" But that, to me, is the single biggest statement of Arteta's, the faith in Arteta from not only the owners but certainly the players. We will know. I've said it. You've said it. Arteta's not getting sacked, right?
No.
Arteta is not ever. I don't think there will be a position when he will be. There will be a set of. If he ever done that, then that he has to go. But I honestly think we'll never be in that position for him to be judging that. Too. So I think he will know when the right time to go is. But as a set of fans, we will know when that time is gone. That's where the disconnection is between the players and the manager, like we've seen with previous managers. And the fact that you've got a Gabriel, you've got Saliba, and now we all need is Saka.
Yeah.
To commit their futures to this football club under this manager, and then you can go into all the ridicule that he gets with his playing "You'll Never Walk Alone" in the training ground, and all those crazy, wacky methods that he does. They're all elite athletes who have bought into this guy, just like and I just think it's magnificent. So that's what I just want to say.
Same. And I would be lying if I said it wasn't a concern of mine, just because it's Real Madrid, right? Like you never know. But I think you see Saliba's interviews, you see like he's flipping mental the way he celebrates, and he loves it. He absolutely loves it, and I think that's one part of it as well as what you're saying about kind of believing in everything. So I think it's now very much a case of like these people are committing to the club in their prime years. We've got to convert it now. We absolutely have to convert it.
Do you know the last player that went to Madrid from Arsenal?
Reyes? No.
Nelka.
Wow. Did Reyes not go straight from Arsenal then?
No. 1999, Anelka.
Bloody hell.
It's mad that there's this perception that Real Madrid come along and take all our best players. Now we know why there's that link with Saliba, because obviously they're not paying 100 million for him. They just want him to. They'd want him to walk out of his contract. So, but it's from a fan base that have seen us regularly lose our top players post Highbury and what City did to us every year. It's just nice to see that we're not in that position anymore, and it's only going to strengthen us as a club that you can build your foundations as the best defence in Europe with that centre-half pairing.
Definitely, and fingers crossed it's a boost for this weekend. Should we turn our attention to Newcastle, if we have to. It's never a fixture I look forward to, especially at St James's Park.
No.
Just shout a few of the guys that are in the chat. We've got Aaron in, FPL Plonker, afternoon chaps. Tommy
Afternoon,
Gunners.
lads.
Hello, mate. Tommy Guns in, afternoon, everyone. Hope you're good, mate. I'll be, as always, interested to see what Tommy's predicted lineup is for this weekend. Should go straight into, well, before we do that, I'll talk some team news. I haven't fully caught Arteta's presser. I caught a little bit of it, and he was saying that Odegaard is pretty much back in training. He should be available for selection this weekend. So I think that's big because he obviously wasn't in the squad at all midweek, was he, against Port Vale? Saka, we're all aware, he's obviously came on against City, played about an hour midweek, I think. People were asking, did he go off with a knock or anything? Arteta said he should be fine. He'll train and stuff. I didn't catch anything else to know if there was any updates on like Hincapié. We obviously know Madueke, we touched on earlier, gutting that he's out for a long time because him and Saka and Eze, Martinelli, Trossard would have been so useful. I think it's going to be a game every 3 days pretty much after the international break until Christmas, I want to say. So that's very annoying, but yeah, we're in a good position. We made a few changes midweek. Obviously, we saw Kepa get his first start. Lewis Skelly came in for what I think was his first start of the season. Ben White was in the lineup. Norgard, Waneri, Eze left 8, we said. Marino was up top. So be interesting to see what the lineup is on Sunday. I have got a couple strong opinions on what I think he'll do at left back, actually. And I think this is going to be... I know Lewis Skelly played 90 midweek. I actually think this is going to be a Lewis Skelly start against Newcastle. Ooh. And I don't think many people are going to predict that, just because I think if I look at the type of game I think we're going to get at Newcastle, Calafiori for me is definitely one of the mid-block, low-block kind of jokers in the pack where you can't track his movement and he's really useful and stuff. But against Newcastle, as much as I want that, I also want someone that is technically secure. Not saying he's not, but more like comfortable with lots of touches. And I think Calafiori, while he's comfortable on the ball, he's maybe 1 to 3 touches, gives it runs. Whereas Lewis Skelly, I think he's a midfielder, right? He likes lots of touches on the ball. And I think you kind of need that at Newcastle. You don't want this becoming a basketball game, in my opinion. And I think that's why I think he'll go with Lewis Skelly. I think he will go with an Eze. Odegaard's back. So I think he's really going to go for the technical ones in this game. And I think I'll just go for it if you don't mind. I'll go.
You go for it.
I think it's going to be Raya. I think it'll be Timber back in again. I think there's games and days for Ben White, but when he played his first game in a while against Port Vale, I think we'll probably look at him back in against Olympiacos. Timber, I think, is the more technical, secure one out of the two, while White brings something different in the overlapping. So I think it'll be Timber, Saliba, Gabriel. I think Lewis Skelly. I think it'll be Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard. And I think it'll be Saka, Gyökeres, Eze. I think he is going to go for the technically control the ball, keep the ball, have the better players and try and manipulate them that way. I think, I'm not saying Calafiori is not technical at all. Maybe I didn't put the point across.
I like that team, and that's yeah, I can see exactly what you're saying. The only, is there a thought that Marino starts ahead of Gyökeres?
I would say,
and we're talking not what you would do, we're talking what Arteta would do.
I don't think he will, just because I think Gyökeres, he did come on midweek, to be fair, didn't he? Yes. I was going to say he didn't.
Yeah, and there was that lovely little link up with Downman where we just flicked the ball around the corner. And you know, it's I did see a stat the other day. Our last 5 goals have all been direct. So it's a ball over the top. It is that we are trying to change our style. We mentioned it at the start of the season that we looked at it, and there was the keenness to get the ball forward quicker. It was a lovely pass by Saliba. So is there a thought that Marino at Newcastle is your battler? He's your... Because if Havertz was around, he'd be playing this game.
This is the Havertz game.
That makes me think: is Marino the closest thing that you've got to Havertz? And if you could have the Odegaard, which we hope we want Odegaard to start this. So then does Marino replace Gokaresh up front as your focal
Yeah,
point?
that's interesting. I don't
Someone
look
to
at
get
Marino.
win your duels. That's. But what you really want is you want them turning round, and you
I don't
want
think
the
Marino
ball.
makes you do that. I think Gyökeres is the
No,
one that makes you do that.
that's what I mean. You want the runners, and with the creativity of Eneza and Odegaard, who can provide. That's what we need. We need them to provide those balls and get Gokaresh to occupy those two, because if you don't, they're just going to go one-on-one, aren't they, with Marino?
Yeah.
We know they know exactly what Marino's going to do. And if you ask Newcastle who they would want to start, they'd probably want Marino on top. So
I think that's my biggest thing. I heard this on I can't remember what pod it was, but like, what do the opposition want?
yeah, it was Clive. Clive was saying it, and it was like,
Was it
it's made
Clive?
me
Yeah.
stuck in my head now. It's like, and it's what makes me now I evaluate every lineup with that in my head, and it's a really good point to sort of put it into context. Whether you've made the right lineup or not, I think City looked at our lineup last week, and who did they want to start? They probably wanted Marino to start.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
what I said I think it was the incorrect lineup for that. So
yeah, I can see the logic. I'd be very surprised if he does that. Just, I think what you say about the runners, and also I don't. Maybe I'm on my own with this. I don't think Marino's remotely similar to Havertz as a 9 profile. I think the only thing is like how he's smart at drifting into space to attack the ball. I think everything else, like off the ball, I know Marino's got this kind of rep that he's this really. I think he is an intelligent player, but I don't think he's this great presser that everyone thinks he is. I think he's quite
more my point was the focal point. If you're hitting it long with the Saliba long balls,
see,
the Saliba long balls or the Raya long balls. Yes, yeah. So I would go with the same as you.
Even the left back. So Tommy's predicted the same 11 as me, but the only change was Tommy thinks it will be Calafiori at left back, not Miles.
Yeah, I just the 90 minutes. He hasn't played. Calafiori's played an awful lot of football. So has Marino, actually. So maybe that 90 minutes in Miles's legs was just to get him, a good 90 in behind him. But I did see a heat map and okay, it was Port Vale, but a passing map of Miles, and it wasn't great. There was a lot of passing behind him. There was a lot of not taking the risk, and that's maybe just a bit of confidence. And that's why it was important to get the 90 in his legs. So, but if you're gonna,
he was involved in the key action for Eze's goal, right?
Yeah, and if you're gonna have those that pay, what are Newcastle's strengths? Who would Newcastle want to start? They'd probably want Calafiori to start, wouldn't they?
Probably.
Do you think they think they could expose him more than they could expose Miles? So
yeah.
Again, that's what I'm sort of flipping it on that side, and I think Miles would be a good we haven't even spoken about Nkapie, but I believe he's injured groin, but typical. So yeah,
I know. So you're going for the same 11 as me then?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Interesting. And I guess this leads into the next one, the score predictions. I mean, I've got our head-to-head record with them, especially when they're at home. I mean, last year we didn't score a goal. We didn't score a goal against them. They beat us.
It's awful.
Yeah, it was shocking. I'm talking about at St. James's Park. There was beat us 1-0 in the league, and then 2-0 in the cup, and that was a battering as well. It felt at some points. I've been just looking through our last few fixtures with them. There was obviously the 1-0 win kind of towards the end of the season last year, but then like I said, the 2 games in the cup, that they beat us 2-0 at our place and theirs. They beat us 1-0 in the league. We did batter them 4-1 in February 24. That was a great one, but that was
that was lovely. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't feel great. I'll be honest.
No, I don't. I don't even want to predict a loss. We can't predict a loss. Can we have that pact that we cannot predict
No,
a
I don't know.
loss?
I always just want to be honest, and I don't have this feeling that there's going to be a significant change in style from the Liverpool and City performances. I think if it was
Agreed.
like at home, maybe.
Agreed.
I still think it's going to be a slightly painful watching periods, annoyingly, and Newcastle are a team that does seem to have our number. Now, we did beat them away. I want to say it was like April, May a few years ago, where Odegaard scored from outside the box. And like that game, I remember Jorginho was at the base and we were popping it around. And this is why I'm thinking, if we do go and opt for a technical team, maybe we can just out football them, because they thrive on chaos and turning it into a boxing
They
match.
want a war. They want a war.
If we bring the Vale, mate, they'll just
and that's what by starting, again, it goes back to my point about the Mourinho. What thought goes through your head when you select him? If you're selecting him in this game, that tells me you're going to war with Newcastle. And I could understand that pick. I could understand the context of that, especially if, say, Odegaard wasn't fit. But I think, as you say, I think we need the technical players on the ball to zip it about for them and don't do what they want us to do. In the last 4 years, they absolutely relish these games with us as one over on the Cockney boys and smash us up. And we cannot continue to just think we can go to war with Newcastle, even though we've got the players that can, but it hasn't worked for us for the last three years. So we need to be a little bit more savvy. Get Eze turning Trippier around, running at him, skinning him, get the foot on the ball, get Gyökeres those early runs
down
in.
the channels to Gyökeres, yeah, exactly.
Get those early balls in, use his strength, play to him, turn them round, get them. And I think if we can get a goal, that again, so important, but such a cliche with Arsenal, it's that first goal.
Yeah.
If we can get that first goal, cool. But if they get that first goal, that's when I worry.
It could be a long day.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. Tommy's got 2-0 Arsenal. Mine's purely on the selection. If he does go and plays the Eze, and if it doesn't go with the Mourinho option, I could see us going and winning. Unfortunately, my gut says there will be a surprise in the lineup that I don't like. And as a result, I don't think we'll lose. I think it will be 1-1 maybe. So I'm going to go with it.
1-1, 2-1, depending on who that piece drops in. If it's the creative piece, it's 2-1. If it's the bit more pragmatic piece, then I think then you're going to get what you play for. And then, by doing that, you are running the risk of you think you're going to go play for the 1-0 or the 1-1, and they do us in the last 5 minutes and Dan Burn corner and it's bloody 2-1. So,
yeah.
For them,
Tommy said Saka needs one more goal or assist to hit 100 Premier League returns, and he gets it on Sunday.
Nice. I was going to ask FPL question.
Yeah.
For anyone watching and you, are you on wildcard this week?
I don't know. I haven't looked at anything yet. Obviously, I'm 5 hours behind time difference wise.
Yeah,
so that's going to be a late night job for me tonight.
Obviously, the fixtures are turning for Arsenal. We're on game week 6 from 7. They're turning. What 3 Arsenal, if you would, are you going to have from game week 7?
Well, this is why I'm not sure if I need the wild card. I'm already on. I've already got Gyökeres. I think I can get to Saka for the West Ham game because I've got Wirtz stinking out the gaff, and then I think I would just like to add Gabriel to that. And that, to be honest, even if I've got him, I've got him already.
Oh, so you've got yes, of course.
Yeah, so I think my 3 would be Gabriel, Saka, Gyökeres. To be honest, I think I'm not double defense anymore. I think in these games, the easier ones, we've got a centre forward that is actually a bit of a flat track bully, and that's what we need. And I think he'll do well in them. Oh, my mate Tev's in the chat saying your manager's lost the plot, mate. I'm not gonna lie, some of Arteta's comments this week have been a bit odd.
Mate, it's who he
I
is,
love
mate.
him. I love him,
it's who he is, mate.
I don't think he's helped himself with how he's.
He never does, though, does he? That's the thing. You know what I mean? What particular are you talking? The CEO's ringing him up, telling him he's never seen Pep do that, or what?
Yeah,
what
like, I've never seen City dominated. It's like, I'd get it if we won, but just sometimes I think it's best to just not say anything, just bite your tongue, like, because we have seen other teams beat City, like so.
Yes, yes, he's not his best. You know, he leads himself down holes that he doesn't need to go down sometimes, and sometimes, we know. Yeah. I know. I mean, mate, you're probably out of the bubble, and I just want to ask some of the viewers is that every single day over here on Sky Sports, there's, and also I'm sure on Talk Sports as well, there's agendas running. It's every single day. It's the only, it's one of those. It's like when you've got a yellow car and you're driving round, you only ever see yellow cars, right? And or you've got a Vauxhall or whatever, or a cockapoo dog. You're only seeing cockapoo dogs, right? I'm only seeing this narrative against Arsenal. I don't know if it's just me because I'm a paranoid shit, or is it just because there is so much narratives out there that I just want to change that. And I think he doesn't help himself in that. We're easy to news to sell, and it would be nice, you know. Question: is this a must-win game on Sunday?
Yeah, no, because there's so much of the season left. But I think it's incredibly disappointing if we don't, and puts us potentially. What would that be if it's 2 points dropped? It will be another 7-8 points behind Liverpool, I think. And I'm already thinking, okay, so that's already 3 games that we need them to drop points in, and that's just not good enough at this stage of the season. I've got to say, on the narrative piece, I do think after the international break, there is a real opportunity to just put together a run. And do you remember that year where we went kind of 15 wins?
That's what we need.
But like, there were no narratives around us.
No,
so like, sometimes narratives aren't far from the truth, and sometimes it is just a case of just win. Don't give people a reason to say anything. It's that simple sometimes. So just win your games of football, go with intent, and just make it happen. It's not that complicated sometimes. And I think that's what pisses me off about the City approach. We're better than that. We're so much better than that. That's what really fucks me off.
The only thing that I'm worried about on Sunday, and I know I shouldn't really even say it, but it's certainly against that football team, is I just want to get out of there injury-free. Don't have any major injuries in that game, because it's getting one in, one out. Every single game we seem to get a player injured, and that's why it was very worrying to see Saka down in that moment. But thankfully, he's okay. So just get out of St James's Park, 3 points in the bag, clean sheet, injury-free, and move on to the bubbles on Tuesday.
Yeah, move on to the what?
Bubbles.
The bubbles.
The bubbles and squeaks. The Greeks.
Oh, I was like, what? I thought you were talking about West Ham, and I was like, that's next week. Yeah, Olympiacos, the team that gave Arteta COVID all them years ago. Fair play. All right, ladies and gents, thanks again. It was good to be back. We haven't sorted a time yet or a day, but we'll try get one back out to review the game either Monday or Tuesday. We'll have a chat, see if we can touch on Olympiacos, and then see how we go from there. I predicted a draw. Not feeling great going into this game, but whenever I've felt that way, Arsenal always surprises me. So hopefully it's one of them. Fingers crossed we get the 3 points, though. I think it is going to be a must. Who have Liverpool got this weekend?
Palace away, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see how they get on there. I think they'll probably win that, but you never know.
Well, no, let's just say what minutes after 90 will Liverpool get their winner on Sunday? I'm going 98. So
unfortunately, I think this one may be a bit of a comfortable one for them, but hopefully I'm wrong. But yeah, ladies and gents, thanks as always. We will be back sometime next week to review the Newcastle game and preview Olympiacos. Fingers crossed, it's a big 3 points. And like you say, no injuries. Up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.